Welcome to my course on AI automation powered by n8n. In this final capstone project of this course, we are going to bring everything together that we have learned in the last 6 sections of this course, and we are going to build a real world automation, a completely autopilot faceless YouTube channel that you can implement yourself for your own needs, for your own niche or domain without you writing a single line of code. You will see that we will start with just a topic in the Google Sheet, and in minutes we will generate a killer script, some stunning visuals that gets converted into videos. We will be creating AI voiceovers, and finally we will be merging everything together to create one unified video out of it that can be published directly on your Instagram or on YouTube channel. Or if you want to further expand your social media reach, you can also throw in the TikTok notes or LinkedIn notes in order to publish on those social media channels as well. This is not going to be theory. This is your first real AI content system that you are going to build without writing a single line of code. Now let's jump onto the screen and start building our workflow. Alright, I'm logged into the cloud instance of my n8n workspace, and this is the kind of workflow that we'll be creating step by step, node by node, configuration by configuration. So you need to stay tuned, but I would like to walk you over the entire steps that we will be following in order to create our faceless YouTube channel, all powered by AI, all done without writing a single line of code. So first couple of steps that you see over here, let me zoom in a bit. First step would be fetching some pending topics from a Google Sheet. So over here, you just need to add a new topic, call it the status as pending, and the workflow is going to fetch that topic. Then in the second step for that topic, we are going to create a full video scripts as well as some scene captions that can be overlaid on the video. Then in step 3, we are going to create some dynamic image prompts based on the context of the video. Then step 4 would be creating the images. Step 5 would be generating the videos from those images. And step 6 would be we'll be creating the voiceover for our entire video. Then in the 7th step, we are going to combine the captions, video, voiceover, audio all together as a single output. In step 8, we are going to stitch together everything so that we generate or render a final reel or shorts video using something called Creator-Made template, which is a platform that allows you to generate videos based on predefined templates dynamically. But I'm going to also reveal another way of doing it that is more dynamic in nature. But first we'll learn the basics using Creator-Made template. Then in the final step, we are going to publish the generated video onto various social media platforms like Instagram. Then we are going to publish on YouTube. And finally, we are going to upload or archive the video that we have generated on our Google Drive storage. It could be any cloud storage where you can archive the generated video. Everything is going to happen without writing a single line of code. So let's jump in and build all these nodes step by step in this long lesson that you are going to follow, but a real value is going to come out of it. So I have created a new workflow and we are going to start from a blank canvas. First, let's rename it to automated faceless video creation. And as always, we'll start with adding triggers. So we'll add a manual trigger, and we are going to also add a Google Sheets note so that the process runs on an automated manner. As soon as you add a topic into our Google Sheet, the workflow picks it up. If the status is pending, it is going to create the entire video and update the status. So let me add that. And we want an operation as get rows in the sheet. In the credentials, I'm going to select my GenAI Unplugged account. Resource is same. Operation is get rows. Document, we are going to select it. And this will be AI content generation. I already have that sheet open. So let's go over and see what we have in this sheet. So we have video number, we have topic. So here you can add your topics, whatever you want. You can define the tone. You can define the niche, you can define the persona. So there is an option of specifying a platform to where you want to contextualize this video. Either it's TikTok video or Instagram or a YouTube shorts. And the language is also there. The CTS style, whether you want to ask a question at the end, there is a subscribe prompt, or you want to ask users to drop a comment or even start a debate or try it and share it out. So whatever the CTS style that you want for the topic, the final script and the output will be based on that. Then we have some social media platforms like YouTube status, whether it's pending, published or rejected. And then we have the final status of the topic as done, pending or maybe work in progress. If the status is done, we are going to have a video URL where the archive video will be present. And you can see that I have already one video created over here using this automated approach of creating the videos. So now you understand what the content of our Google Sheet are. So the sheet was Faceless YT Shorts. Let me go back and check. Yes, that was the sheet. There are a couple of more sheets over here, but these are from the previous lesson where we automated the journey of a content creator publishing blogs and social media posts. If you have not watched that video, go back and check out that video as well, because a lot of things about publishing to social media has been covered over there. Now let's come back to our workflow, and now we are going to add some filter. So we are going to select the column of status, and in the value we'll mention pending, because only pending topics is what we want it to fetch. Then I'm going to click on this add options, and I'm going to select this return only first matching row. And when I'm going to turn on this is going to only return one row that matches the parameter, which is more like status equals to pending. That way it is going to fetch only one row, and the entire workflow is going to generate one video at a time. Finally, let's rename this to fetch new topics, video topics. Let's execute this node. And you can see that the first pending topic has been returned, which is 3 hidden features in ChatGPT you didn't know about. So we'll be creating a video based on this topic in this entire workflow. So I'm going to pin this topic so that we are going to follow the same topic throughout. Now let's go back and see how the workflow looks like. So we have now automated the first step of fetching new video topics for the workflow to create videos. The second step would be to create or generate some video script and captions that will be overlaid on your video using OpenAI platform. So for that, I'm going to add the basic LLM node. But before doing that, because we are going to test this workflow again and again, let me add a Google Sheet node and attach it to our manual trigger so that we can keep on testing as we are building this workflow. And finally, we are going to delete the manual trigger and only use this fetch new topics trigger that we have created for Google Sheets. So let me quickly just add it. So the configuration of this would be same as the trigger that we have. It is going to execute when we manually trigger it. And you can see that it has returned the same data. So I'm going to just park it at the top over here. Let's save our progress. So this is what we are going to follow. Let me go and pin this data. Now we have to add a basic LLM chain. So I'm going to click on this AI and we are going to select the basic LLM chain. And why I'm doing so that we can create a structured output node and we can even change the LLMs. Right now I'm going to use the OpenAI platform, but you are free to change any kind of model, any kind of LLM that you would like using this basic LLM chain node. First, let's rename this to generate video script and captions. Let's rename this. Now in the source of prompt, I'm going to say define below. So this you can see the user prompt over here. I'm going to click on the expression. I'm going to expand this. I have already created a prompt that I'm going to paste it in the description of the video as well. You can download it from there, but I'm going to paste over here and you would see that it's a pretty long prompt which has details about you are creating a YouTube short script based on structured input fields. And this is where we are going to input the fields that we have fetched in the first step. So topic is going to filled over here. You can see the target persona is filled, tone is filled, niche and domain is filled, CTA style is filled. So please write a highly engaging YouTube short scripts in first person voice that follows the best practices of viral short form content. So this is the script that we are going to use. Here we are also mentioning what kind of output structure we want. So this is the structure that we want. We want a hook. We want caption 1, caption 2, caption 3, 4, 5, and then we want a CTA, and then we also require the full script of the video. So this is where I have given an example as well, that hook could be this, and then generate 5 captions, then there should be a CTA, and then finally there would be a full script of the video that would be returned at the bottom. Since we always want this kind of a structure, even though we have given the example output, it is still not certain that LLM is going to structure the response in this way. That's why I'm going to close this and I'm going to turn on this require specific output format option, so that now we can connect an output parser on the canvas to specify the output format that we need. So for that, I'm going to go back and you would see that this is where we can attach our subnode called output parser. I'm going to click on that and I'm going to have a structured output parser. So here you can see it says generate from a JSON example. We already have an example. I'm going to paste that. Let me expand it so you can see. And here is the example. The hook is there, caption 1, caption 2, caption 3. So we want our LLM to follow this structured output when returning the response. Now let's go back. So if you hover over this icon of basic LLM chain node, you can switch back without going back to canvas and coming over here. So if I click on it, the configuration of the basic LLM node has been opened, and I can go to the output parser by clicking this, and I can come back over here. So this eliminates the step of going back to the canvas and clicking on a subnode or the parent cluster node. So now we have the user prompt configured. We have the structured output configured. What we are missing is a system prompt where we want our LLM to assume certain role, assume certain expertise so that the responses are more and more accurate. So let's go ahead and add a system prompt. So you can see as soon as I click on that add prompt, another option has been created where we can put the message for the system prompt. So I'm going to click on expression. I'm going to expand this. I already have a system prompt created. I'm going to paste it. Again, it's a pretty long prompt that we have specified, but first thing that we are asking it to assume a role of a professional YouTube short script writer with over 15 years of experience and specialized in crafting highly engaging short form video scripts across multiple tones, niches, and audience personas. And then there are some more details around it and core traits of high converting YouTube short script. So I'm going to paste this prompt so that you can use it for yourself as well. Now the last thing that is pending is adding a model. So if I click on this plus icon, I can add a sub node of model, and I want to use the OpenAI. So I'm going to search OpenAI chat model. So I'm going to click on that, and GPT-4o mini is our favorite. That is what we are going to use. Now let's go back. So this is how it looks like. I'm going to just drag this down a bit so that this same model can be used in further basic LLM chain nodes that we are going to use throughout the workflow. And what I'm going to do is also attach it over here. Since we have pinned the output of this node, this is not going to impact anything because we have already pinned the output data for this particular node, although it will help us make our workflow readable. So that's why I attached it over here. And as soon as we are done testing, we can just delete this node and the rest of the workflow can remain same. Now let's open this node and see if our second step has been correctly configured and automated. Let me execute this step. It is going to take some time. And you can see the output has been generated. So there is a hook that has been written. Then there are some 5 captions. ChatGPT has features you won't believe. Then there are caption 2, 3, 4, 5. The CTA is want to unlock them, subscribe now. So that's what the intent of the CTA was, subscription. That's how it has returned the CTA. And this is the full script that it has generated. So we asked it to generate about 35-second long script. This is what it has come up with. So you already have some captions, you have the video script. Now based on this video script, now we are going to generate some images. But before that, we have to basically create the images prompt which are based on what is being spoken in this particular script. So we don't want some random b-rolls, random images to be created. Rather, we want some context specific videos or b-rolls that gets created, and hence we are going to dynamically generate some image prompts for our image creation models that we are going to use. Now the next immediate step is to create image prompts out of the output that we have received for these captions as well as video scripts. But what kind of image prompts we will generate? Let's open this up, and you would see that there is this hook, caption 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a CTA, and then there is a full script. So we are going to generate the image prompts based on the context of this hook as well as these captions and the CTA, so that the video looks natural and relate to what is being spoken as a full script. And these captions will let us split the video into various b-rolls. Hence we are going to create the image prompt based on this hook, all the captions and the CTA, and we are going to pass this full script to 11 Labs API so that we can create the voiceover. So these are our immediate next steps. So that means there will be 2 branches out of it, one branch serving the first 7 fields and the second branch serving this full script. So let's go ahead and do that. But since we have just one item as output, let me first use the split out node so that we can have multiple outputs created that can be input to generate the image prompts. So in the fields to split, we are going to say output, and we can say split out captions. Now let's rename this, execute step. And you can see that now we have 8 items. So in the first branch, we are going to work on this. And in the second branch, we are going to work on this. Now let's split out these branches. So let me add an if node over here. Let's first rename this if caption or hook. And let's use this output over here, and let's use the length. So we are going to check the length of the text that we have. So you can see that all these captions, hook and CTA, they are very short sentences, but the output of the full script is quite long. So we are going to check the length, and length is a number. So we are going to say greater than, and maybe like we can say over here 100. So this is going to ensure that all these fields belong to one branch and this field will belong to the second branch. So you can see that true branch has the output of the full script and false branch has all the captions and the CTA and the hook. But let me fix this, because in the true branch we want if caption or hook. So I'm going to just say instead of greater than, it should be less than. Now let's execute. Now in the false branch, the full script is coming. Let's go back over here. Now for all these 7 items, we are going to generate the image prompt. So let's click on it. Let's search for basic LLM chain. Let's rename this first. And here we are going to change it to define below. This is where we are going to enter the user prompt. So I'm going to click on expression. I'm going to like expand it so that you can view what prompt do I have. So I already have a prompt over here. I'm going to paste this. So in this prompt, we are instructing the LLM to create an image prompt for the following YouTube Shorts visual scene. Here we are giving the dynamic input. So I'm going to expand this fetch videos topic manually node, and I'm going to start dragging these fields. So topic is here. Then we have persona. Then we have niche as well. Next, we have scene text, which is available as an input from the previous node. So now you can see based on this particular scene, an image prompt will be generated. So that means there will be 7 image prompts that will get generated, because 7 inputs are coming as captions to this particular prompt. And for each of caption or hook or CTA, we want to generate a visual. Then we have some instructions over here where we are saying, please return the output in this format, prompt colon first person POV GoPro shot, what's in front of the viewer, in the background describe the setting, motion, mood, environment, lighting. So we want our scene that gets generated to be as real as possible, as relatable as possible from the real world. Hence this kind of a prompt is there. Then we are also instructing only generate one prompt for this caption, make it cinematic, dynamic and realistic, ready to be used in Cubico Flux Dev 1. This is the AI model that we are going to use. You may be using Leonardo.ai, so you can use that so that the image prompt that gets outputted is optimized for that particular AI model. So in this workflow, we are going to use this Cubico Flux 1 Dev. There is a pro version as well, but it costs more. It is testing purpose. That's why I have dev mode. You can also turn on the pro mode as well, but not much will change because the model stays the Cubico Flux one. And at the bottom, we have this input example as well as the output that we expect. So that's how we have instructed in the user prompt, the LLM, but there is a system prompt as well that I'm going to configure now. So let's close this. Let's add the system prompt over here. So again, let's click on the expression and let's expand this. Let me paste the prompt that I have. So here we are instructing our AI to assume a role, assume an expertise. Here we are providing some dynamic inputs in the form of persona and niche. So I'm going to open this node again and I'm going to drag the persona over here as well as the niche. And don't worry, I'm going to attach all these prompts that we are going to use in the entire workflow in the description of the video so that you can copy paste these prompts. I'm going to also provide the link to the JSON file of the entire workflow that we are creating. So just keep on following, keep on understanding what I'm doing there. These prompts that I have generated, these are also generated based on the LLM. I chatted with it, I generated these prompts, so you can do that as well. Give it the instructions and it is going to output the prompts for you. Then in the output, I just make some tweaks based on my requirements, my understanding, my experience, and that's where I get the structured final output of these prompts. So all these prompts are also generated using ChatGPT only, but fine tuning is very important because you want the output based on your needs. Hence, don't forget that step. So now our system prompt is also ready. We want a structured output. So basically, I'm going to turn this on. And then we are going to go back and attach an output parser. Again, we are going to select a structured output parser, and over here I'm going to paste this. So this is the example output that we want our LLM to follow. Now let's get back to the canvas, and in the model, let's attach the model that we have already have. Now this is ready to be executed. Let me click on play. So it's making another call. Let me go and fix that too. So you can see that it is generating more and more outputs. So it was called 7 times, one for each item, and 7 outputs have been generated in terms of image prompts. So you can see that the first image prompt looks like first person POV GoPro shot of hands typing intently on a laptop, code operating on the screen on lines of Python, scroll by the fingers, occasionally pause to highlight snippets, showcasing hidden features in ChatGPT. So you can see that it is explaining the mood, the scene, the environment, the first person POV point of view, and this is going to be inputted into our AI model for image generation. Hence, that is why we needed a detailed image prompt over here optimized for our AI model. So these are all the prompts that we have generated. Now we are going to go further and generate images from it. So let's go back. Before going further, I would like to attach or pin these outputs so that we don't keep on calling these LLMs again and again. So let's open this and let's pin this too. So now we have pinned the data over here and we have pinned the data over here for image prompts so that we are not making unnecessary calls again and again and the output is predictable. Now we will start burning some real money because these AI models for image creation or the AI models for video creation cost much more money than the LLMs, which are text-based responses that we have been using so far. So we need to be careful that we are not calling them unnecessarily again and again. Let me save our progress over here. So this false branch, basically we are going to attach to the 11 Labs API so that we can generate the voiceover over there. But before doing that, we are going to first create the images, then the video, and then we are going to come and create the voiceover. So let's keep on working on our top branch. Let me expand this to make it much more readable. Let me have it over here. This branch can go down. So now in order to make the call to our AI for generating images, let me first go back to the platform that I'll be using. So this is called Pi API. So if I click on it, you would see that you can leverage the APIs available in this platform to make calls to something like Midjourney, Trellis 3D, Luma Dream Machine, Kling for video generation, Flux for image generation. So we are interested in Flux for image generation and Kling for video generation. So it is a central platform that is able to provide you from a central place or central API to call all these models that exist for creative purposes. So in order to make an API call, you would need an HTTP node. So I'm going to click on it and I'm going to search for HTTP node. So HTTP request node is there. Let's rename it to generate images or generate AI images. And in the request, I'm going to paste the URL. So you can see that I'm going to call the api.piapi.ai API version 1 task. So everything you do with Pi API is going to be a task that you are going to submit to the platform. And if I go back again and if I go to my workspace, you would see that, let me just close this. So you would see that ongoing tasks are over here and it is also showing which kind of API tasks are being executed by this Pi API platform, and all these models are also available over here. If I expand this, we are going to use the Flux.1, not the Midjourney one. If I click on it, you can click on this playground and you can play around with this API over here in order to generate the images. You can click on this overview. It is going to provide you the details of what is available, what is not, how the pricing works, what are the API details. You can also see output images are stored on Pi API server for 3 days, after which it will get deleted. So you need to download them and archive them. Similarly, the video case as well, that we have to download the video and archive it for our own need. So you can use the default setting out there. Once you read the documentation of these AI models, you can go and fine tune them. But I am going to use the default settings of this open source Flux model. So let's come back over here and let's make a request. So in order to make a request, you need the API key that needs to be generated over here, and you need to load some sort of money. It is not going to be free. You can use the free trial. If it is available for you, you can use the free trial, but I have loaded some money over here, just $5, and I can generate quite a few images and few videos out of this $5. So it is going to cost real money. That's why it is important that you pin the data, and while testing out, do not run these again and again. And you can see I'm using the dev model. You have this Snell model as well as the advanced model to generate more realistic images. So once your application is in production, you should turn on to these available models to generate more realistic real world results. In order to generate the API keys and use the Pi API platform, you can click on this icon. So this is going to open up the billing dashboard. You can click on this My Account or you can click on this API key and create a new key over here. Once you create the new key by specifying the name, that is what you have to copy and use it in your n8n platform. In order to do that, let's come back over here, and in the authentication, I'm going to select this generic credential type. Here in the generic credential type, I'm going to use the header auth. So I'm going to click on it. So in the header auth, I'm not going to use the 11 labs auth. Rather, I'm going to create new credential. Let's rename this to Pi API auth. So this is the authorization that I'm creating in my cloud workspace of n8n so that it can be used further as well. So here I can name. So the name that we have to give, let's go back. Let's go back to the model. So you can see that in the playground, it is expecting the header name as x-api-key. So I'm going to copy this and let's come back. Let's paste the name over here. In the value, we need the key. So key is also available over here. So I'm going to just copy this and I'm going to come over here and paste it. So I pasted the key. So now our authentication is ready for this Pi API platform. So I'm going to click on save. So our URL is ready. Authentication is ready. Now it's time to provide the inputs to this particular request. So the API expects the input in the form of a body. So I'm going to turn this on and I'm going to define the JSON. So in the specific body, you can click on this and you can use using JSON. Now I'm going to click on the expression and I'm going to expand this so that you can view it clearly. I'm going to paste the body over here. So you can see that the body is model Cubico Flux 1 dev. This is where you are going to come and change the setting when you are using some other model which is available on Pi API platform. Either you can change this dev version to Schnell or advanced version of Flux 1, or you can also shift it to Mid Journey, which is also available in the Pi API. So that's the advantage of using the Pi API platform, that you can use only single platform to make API calls to different types of models, the ones that are working for you. Then we have the task type. Like I said, everything is going to be a task that is going to submit it to the platform. The task would get executed. We are going to fetch the details of the task, and then we are going to fetch the assets, which could be image, music, or video. Then we have the input. So here we are giving the prompt, and we already have an image prompt coming over here. You can see that this $json.output.image prompt, but you can see that I have surrounded this image prompt with some sort of expression or JavaScript code, and what this code is doing is nothing but it is cleaning up anything that is irrelevant or inapplicable in this particular image prompt. There could be some sort of special characters which are there. There can be some sort of inverted commas, codes, backticks, which can corrupt the JSON data which we are sending to our model. Hence, it is important to clean up all those special characters before sending the request to the Pi API platform so that it does not break or does not error out. That's what all I have done. You can use this expression as is so that it gets cleared, and you can see that the valid output, nothing much has changed. So it is going to only fix the input when it is absolutely needed, when there are some special characters in it. Next two fields is width, which is like 768, and the height is 1024. So this height and width are based on the canvas size of these shorts or reels, because we want to create a vertical video. We want to create the vertical images that gets converted into vertical video. So this is ready now. Let's go back, and one thing that I forgot is the method. So this is not a fetch that we are doing. This is the post that we are doing. So basically we are going to change this to post over here. And then one more thing, we can come over here, add an option, and we are going to say redirects, and allowed max redirects is 21. Let's turn this on as well. Let's now execute this step. So you can see that node has been executed and 7 items have been returned. So that means 7 tasks should have been submitted to our Pi API platform. Let's go to our Pi API platform and let's come to the analytics. Let's go to the overview and let's come to the task history over here. And you can see that all these 7 tasks have been submitted, and these are submitted right now. And you can see the usage is 0.015 cent. So this is what it would take to generate all these 7 images, and you can see the status is processing right now. Hence, what we have to do is we have to add some sort of a wait as a next step in our workflow. So we are going to add a wait over here. Let's say 3 minutes. Wait for images to generate. So this is where we are going to wait. I'm going to execute this. This is going to wait for 3 minutes so that our images are always generated before we are moving to the next step. Okay, let's head over to our workspace task. You can see over here all these tasks are in processing mode. Let me refresh it again. They are still stuck in processing mode. This is going to sometimes happen. So what you can do is you can click on it and you can see the status is completed. So basically all these task status are completed, but the UI is showing it is still in processing. We can ignore that. Generally these images gets processed or generated in couple of minutes or maximum 3 to 5 minutes. So you can put the wait over here. So we can rename this to wait for 3 minutes for images to get generated. Wait for. This has waited enough. Now we are going to call these tasks and fetch the images. So remember that we have submitted task. So we need to fetch the task now one by one, because if I open up this particular node, you can see that the task ID is over here. So using this task ID, we are going to make an HTTP request in order to fetch the current status or current update of this task. As soon as the task status is completed, which you can see over here, you will get the configuration in the output. So as you are seeing, there is an input node, there will be an output node that would be there once the status is changed to completed. So let's go ahead and fetch all of these tasks one by one. There are 7 tasks that we submitted. Let's go back. Let me add an HTTP request node again. We'll rename it to fetch images from task. This time we are going to make use of the HTTP get method because we have to fetch the details of the task. In the URL, I'm going to just copy paste. So this time we are calling the same URL or endpoint. However, we are also attaching the task ID that was coming. So this is the task ID that is coming. It is under data. So we have written $json.data.task ID. So task ID is accompanied over here. In the authentication type, we have already created it. So we'll select this generic credential type. We are going to select this header auth. And we already created this PyAPI auth in the previous node. So that's pretty much it. We don't need to send anything else. I'm going to execute this. It is going to execute 7 times again because 7 inputs are there. So 7 outputs will be there. And as I told you that there is this output field that is coming and the image URL is over here. Let me copy this image URL and let me show you. If I open this up, I think, oops, I have a inverted comma. Let me click on this. So you can see that it looks very much real. There is nothing moving on over here because this is an image. Now we are going to transform these images into the real world videos. So let's go back now and let's return back to the canvas. However, what I'm going to also do over here is check for any kind of errors. So for that, I'm going to use the if node. So let's say, and let's have the status. And in case the status is equals to failed, and I'm going to rename this, check for error in images. And I'm going to execute this. So it is not failed. That means it is passed. So if it is failed, I'm going to basically attach a stop error node. I don't want to continue. I don't want to invest further. I want to stop the workflow over here because something wrong has happened in terms of generating the images. So I don't want to burn rest of my credits for generating videos on faulty images. So I don't want that. Let's specify the error message. An error occurred while generating an image. So let's go back. So this we have done. So the false branch has all the positives, which is basically the image has been successfully generated. Now we have to convert these images into videos. So for that, we are going to go back again over here in the PyAPI. This time I have the documentation opened up over here and you can read about what is PyAPI over here, all these endpoints that exposes, and you are already familiar with this Flux AI model that we use to create the images from text. Now we are going to use something called Kling AI model that is going to generate the videos from the images that we have created. It is going to impart the motion in the scenes or the images that is created by Flux One. So I'm going to go back and attach another node over here called HTTP request node. Let's first rename this to generate videos from images. This time we are going to use post method because we have to post the data or post the task. So the URL endpoint will be same because we are going to submit the task, and what task we are going to submit, that we are going to mention in the body. In the authentication, everything will remain same. Auth type is header auth. We have already created the PyAPI authorization. So I'm going to select that. Then we are going to send the body, and in specify body, I'm going to use JSON. And over here, let me click on this expression. Let me open this up and let me paste the body that we have. So you can see that model we are going to use Kling. task type is video generation instead of image generation now. So we had already created the prompt. That is what we are going to mention. Negative prompt, blurry motion, distorted faces. So this is more like telling the model or AI that don't include all these things. So this is very helpful for not creating the content that you don't expect it. So make sure you have some sort of negative prompt over here. Then rest of the configuration is same. In the mode I'm using standard. You can use the Kling Pro version of it. It costs double. This is going to cost me about 23 cents in order to generate one video out of this particular image URL. If you want to use the Pro model, it costs double, so 46 cents would be there. Over here we are mentioning the URL using which the video needs to be generated, or in which the video motion should be generated, and we already have those images already generated. Here we can also mention some sort of camera control settings that you would like to use. You can get some creativity into it. If you understand these, read the documentation, play with in the playground and see how the results are coming. Of course, it is going to cost some money to you. Hence, always use the standard version of it so that when you are satisfied with the testing, you can move on to the pro version. So let's close it. And similar to the other node, I'm going to use the redirects over here. Now let's go ahead and execute this step. Again, for each of the input, 7 output has been generated, and that means that 7 tasks have been submitted in order to generate the videos from the images. So now what we have to do, since the status of each of these tasks is pending, we have to again wait. So I'll go back to the canvas, and over here we are going to introduce the wait node, and this time we are going to wait for more time. This time we are going to wait for at least 10 minutes because 7 video tasks have been submitted. It might take time, probably a minute for each video task to be successfully executed. So we are going to put 10 minutes of wait over here, and let's rename this to wait 10 minutes for video generation. Let's rename this. So before executing, let me open this, pin the data over here. Let's go back and pin the data over here as well, so that accidentally these images are not getting regenerated again and again. Again, for the videos as well, we are going to pin the data. Let's come back. Now let me execute this task. I'm going to skip all this waiting period and jump straight away when the task is completed. Alright, our wait is over. So let's head back to our workspace in PyAPI. So you can see this was Flux. Let me refresh it to Kling. Alright, so you can see that all of them has successfully executed, and you can see the usage is 26 cents. It was not 23, 26 cents. So pro version is almost double, maybe like 52 cents is going to cost you for each video generation. So you can see that video generation is not going to be that cheap, but later in the video, I'm going to also tell you a couple of models that were recently launched that you can use in order to reduce these costs almost to half. So now let's head back and let's just copy paste these two nodes as is. Let me copy this, let me paste them. So this time, instead of fetching images from the task, we are going to fetch the videos, but nothing is going to change. I'm going to input this over here. So let me like just align them all together so that it looks pretty. So now let me open this. Let me rename this first, fetch videos. And again, we submitted the task. Everything that you submit is a task. Remember that always. Then you have to fetch that task, and the output node is going to help you fetch the desired output that you expect. I'm going to rename this. I'm going to unpin this, and then this remains same. This is a get. Header authorization would remain same, and I'm going to execute this step now. So this has fetched all the video tasks that we have submitted, and you can see the task type was video generation, status is completed. Now we are going to again check for errors. So over here, we can rename it to if video has errors, and status is what we are checking. So we'll just rename this. So I'll just copy this, rename this, execute step. So false, none of the task has any kind of errors. So over here, we can rename this to if images have errors. And if there is error, we want to stop an error, and we'll rename this an error occurred while generating an image or video in PyAPI. So this way I'm using the same node, but you can attach different nodes to send the different error messages over here. Now let's open this and pin the data so that we have the data of videos that have been generated and it has costed us. So we want to always save them. Second thing that I'm going to do, since I'm still developing this particular workflow, I'm going to deactivate these nodes because I no longer need them. My tasks have been completed, data has been pinned. We are going to entirely use all these videos, all these images, so that we see the output of at least one final video that has been generated, and then we are going to reactivate them while submitting the other requests through our Google Sheet. So that's why I'm going to deactivate wait mode so that we don't need to wait if accidentally we have to restart from some of the steps previously. Now let's save our progress. So far we have generated images, we have generated videos. Now it is time to generate the voiceover using the full script that was generated, and the full script was generated over here. So this is the branch where images and videos have been created, and this was the branch where the full script was there, and this is where we are going to add another HTTP node, and we'll use the HTTP request node in order to make a call to a platform called 11 Labs. 11 Labs is the most mature model or most mature platform out there in order to generate AI powered voiceovers for your audios, podcasts or videos. That is what we are going to use. So I'm going to attach an HTTP request node again. So again, let's rename it to generate voiceovers. In the method, we are going to say post. In the URL, I'm going to paste the URL. Let me expand it to show it to you what it is. So you can see that api.11labs.io v1 text to speech is the API endpoint, and this is the voice ID that you want to use. I already have in my account a voice ID selected. So you need to first go over to 11 Labs platform. Let me open this. So right now it is going to open the subscription. You need to subscribe it. I'm on the starter plan, so you can be on the starter plan as well. It gives you a monthly credit of 30,000 credits. That is more than sufficient to generate a lot of audio content for your video, especially for shorts. That will be more than enough. Now if I go to the home page, you would see that all these voices are there that you can use. So if I click on some of the voice, and if you have selected this particular voice, you can click to hear it.
Well, let's see. I think I'm best for ads, explainer videos.
So if I like it, I can click on these three dots. I can click this copy voice ID, and that is what we are going to paste it over here, because that's the voice ID that we want to use. This is a different voice ID that is configured for a voice that I would like to use. So I'm going to continue to use that. In the authentication, again, you would need API key in order to call the 11 Labs API. So for that as well, it's like header auth. So I'm going to click on header auth. And instead of that, I'm going to use the 11 Labs auth. So in order to generate the API key, you can come to your account, and over here, there is a section of API keys. You can go over here, click on this create new key. You can name that key, and basically you can specify some of the limitations as well. And then basically you can copy it and create your own credentials for 11 Labs. The name you have to put is xi-api-key. That will be the name, and the value will be the key that you will generate. So that's how you will configure the 11 Labs API credential. So I had already configured it. Now we have to send the body. So I'm going to click on this send body. And I'm going to use this time fields. In the earlier HTTP node, we used the JSON, but this time I'm going to use the fields so that we can configure the body parameters one by one. So the first parameter is the text that we want, and that's basically the output that we are getting. So this is the entire script that we want for voiceover to be generated. The next parameter will be the model that we are going to use, and the value will be 11_multilingual_v2. In the third parameter, you can specify the output format that you want. So that'll be like output_format, and here you can specify the value that you would like for the output, and that'll be mp3_44,100_128 bits. And that's it. That is how you are going to generate the voiceover. If I click on execute step, so this time it is going to actually execute this step. It is going to execute the API, and now it is generating the file. So you can see that the file has been generated for us. This has returned a binary data, and you can see instead of JSON, now we have the binary output over here. So this is the voiceover that we have. First thing is that we have to save this voiceover to our Google Drive. So we are going to upload this voiceover so that it is always available over here. It can be deleted from the 11 Labs API after some period of time. So we have to save this. In order to save or archive this, I'm going to use the Google Drive and upload it over there. And then we are going to access it later when we stitch everything together. So let's go back and add a Google Sheet node. So let me align it over here, and let's click on this to add a Google Drive node. And we want to upload a file, so I'm going to click on this. So I'm going to use the same credential, resources file, operation upload, input data field name is data. So that's the data over here. In the file name, we are going to go back some of the nodes. So let's go back to the fetch new video topics or fetch video topics manually. Let's go over here. Let's open this and let's drag the topic over here. So the topic name could be our file name, and we can always append -vo, which is voiceover.mp3, which is the extension for the audio file. And then in the parent drive, I'm going to select parent. In the root folder, I'm going to select a GL voiceover. So let's use that GL voiceover, and then we are going to execute the step. Alright, so the node has been executed. Now what we have to do is set the permissions on this file so that it is publicly available for our workflow to be later used. Right now it is only accessible to my account. I want this file to be publicly available for the n8n as well to access it, download it, and merge it with the videos that we have created later in the workflow. So for that we have to set the permissions on this file. In order to do that, let's go back to the canvas. Let's add another Google Drive node over here. And in the file action, we are going to say share file. So we'll select the file, and that will be from the ID basically. So we are going to select it from the ID. I'm going to paste this ID over here. So json.id. So this is the file that we want permission to be. And what kind of permission we want? Add permission. In the role, I'm going to mention writer. In the type, I'm going to mention anyone. And we should also enable this allow file discovery. Now let's execute this step. So now our permissions are set. Let me call this set correct file permissions. Let's go back and let's rename this as well. Upload audio voiceover. Now let's come back. Now we have archived the voiceover file that we had created. So basically for rest of the workflow, we no longer need this generate voiceover node. So temporarily, I'm going to just go ahead and deactivate this. So again, the voiceover does not get generated. Again, you are not burning any kind of money. Let's open this. Let's pin this data. Let's save our progress. So for rest of the workflow, let's extract the URL for the voiceover. So for that, I'm going to use edit field set node. I'm going to call it like extract voiceover URL. I'm going to click this and I'm going to add a field. Let's name it to voiceover underscore URL. And we are going to go back one node, and over here, there'll be a web link over here. So web content link, that is what we are interested in. So this is the link. We have already specified that anyone is a writer. So setting the permission was a crucial step so that our workflow can access this file later on. I'm going to execute this. So now we have a voiceover URL as well. So if we look at like all these three branches over here, so the first branch is generating images. So we have generated videos out of it. So we have all the URLs for the video as well. And we have the URL of our audio as well. And we also have the text or captions that needs to be laid over all these videos and the audio while generating the final video. Now it is time to start stitching everything together and render one holistic or unified video that can be uploaded on Instagram as a reel, or TikTok as a TikTok video, or YouTube as a YouTube short. So let's go ahead and first collate and relate everything that we have over here. We want to relate the videos, those 7 videos that have been created, with each caption. So we had the captions. Every caption was used to generate an image, then a video. So all those captions are going to go over the each video. So we have to make a relationship between video and the caption, and the voiceover will continue to be the entire voiceover down there. So we are going to merge everything together so that we have one end product or one output to work upon. Rest everything is noise so far for us, so we are going to avoid that. So let's make use of our magic nodes, which are like merge node and edit field set node, in order to optimize all the data that we have received so far. So let's go ahead and execute this node. This is going to have all the video URLs over here. So we are going to extract all the video URLs from it. And what we are going to do is, so let's add an edit field set node. And let's rename it to extract video URLs. Let's rename this and let's say video underscore URL. And let's collab this. Let's collapse the input as well. In the output field, we have the video URL. So I'm going to drag this over here. So I'm going to execute this. This should return us 7 items, 7 URLs should be there. So in the JSON, you would see 7 video URLs have been returned. So now we are going to associate these URLs to the text or captions that we had generated. So the captions were coming over here, like in the if node, the 7 captions routed the upper branch where the video and images were generated. So I'm going to use a merge node over here. So let's keep it over here, and then let's add a merge node now. And in the merge node, one of the input would be this. So one of the input would be video URL. The second input is the caption that is associated. So I'm going to drag this and attach it over here. So we have the caption and the video URLs associated. And if I open this up, now let's configure, instead of append, we want to combine. And this time we want to combine on position, so that the first video gets associated to the first caption, second video gets associated to the second caption, and so on. So if I execute this, it's going to combine. So this is the first video URL. Did you know ChatGPT can code? Second URL is associated to the second caption, third, and so on. So now we have started putting everything together. I'm going to pin this data. Let's come back to the canvas. So now videos and captions are linked. Let's link the voiceover as well. So another merge node can be introduced over here. So let me add the merge node. And one of the inputs would be the output from this particular node, and the second input would be the voiceover URL. And this time we are going to just say append. So if I execute this, you would have the data as all the video URLs and their outputs are associated, but we wanted the voiceover URL or voiceover as a complete voiceover for the entire video. That's why I have it over here. Before going back, let's rename this to merge audio video captions. Let me zoom in. Let's rename to merge video with captions. I renamed this as well in order to follow the consistency of naming. So merge video with caption, merge audio with video and captions. So this is the final output that we have. Now we are going to use all these URLs in order to stitch everything together and generate one single video. Let's pin this data. Let's go back. Let's save our progress that we have made so far. But before we start stitching together, you can see that there are 8 items that are outputted. So we have to aggregate together to form one single object. We just need one single object. Otherwise, what is going to happen? The platform that we are going to generate the final video is going to get executed, like that node is going to get executed 8 times. We don't want that. We want only one time for that node to be executed. That's why we have to first aggregate them together into a single aggregate node, producing a single output. So let's go ahead and add the aggregate node. Let's rename it to generate one single output, unified single output of URLs. And here we'll say all item data into a single list, and field we can say final underscore video underscore data. And let's execute this tab. So now we have just one single item. So now we are ready to stitch everything together using another platform called Creatomate. Let's save our progress. Let me zoom out a bit. Let's select all of these. Let's drag it a little bit over here to make it tidy. And over here you can see that after generating all the videos, images, captions, and the voiceover, we have to use 2 set field nodes, 2 merge nodes, and 1 aggregate node. So these 5 nodes can easily be converted into one code node. But I promised you earlier that we are going to build the entire AI automation workflow without writing a single line of code. That's why I did not use the code node. Otherwise, if you know a little bit coding, or you can take help of ChatGPT or other LLMs in order to write the code, you can extract a single unified output out of all these data using a single node or couple of code nodes. But that defeats the purpose of no code. Hence, I used all these 5 nodes in order to produce the output. Now let's go ahead to something called Creatomate platform. So this Creatomate platform, you can see at the top, I have this creatomate.com. I'm providing the link in the description of this video of all the platforms like PyAPI, 11 Labs, Creatomate in the description of this video, so that you can refer these easily from that link, as well as the final JSON file of this entire workflow that we are going to output. All those will have the references. So if you forget, you can always go back there and click on those links. So this Creatomate platform lets you define some sort of video template. So basically I have already defined a video template called AI generated story. So if I click on it, you can see that the way I want my video to be outputted is, I wanted a text hook at the start. I wanted some captions, so that we have generated 5 captions, and I want a final CTA over here. So if I click on it, you can see the position of this caption is going to come over here. This caption can come. So you can completely modify as per your needs, whatever you want. Over here at the end, I have the videos as well. You can see that there are different tracks. Track 3 has all my text, track 2 has all my video, and track 1 has my entire audio. So at the bottom you can see the audio is over there as well. So this is more like creating some sort of a template that would get replaced with the final video, final text, and final voice over audio. That is what we are going to use, and this Creatomate platform allows us to call the API of it using this template ID and replacing all these placeholder text, video, and audio with our finally generated dynamic videos, dynamic captions, and dynamic voiceover. And how do you use that? You use this source code editor over here. You can also use this template in order to dynamically generate these templates and post it in the Creatomate platform, but I've already created it. So we are going to use this template in order to post the request so that the final video gets generated based on this template. And how do you use it? You click on this use template button, and then over here it is showing API integration. If I click on it, you would see there is a curl request over here. I can always copy this curl request. You can see a template ID is also mentioned over here, and rest of the details are also mentioned over here. Now I'm going to come back and I'm going to click on this and introduce an HTTP request node, and basically I'm going to say import curl and paste my data over here. I'm going to import it, and there you go. It has configured the API call to the Creatomate platform, but we have to basically modify it. How we have to modify it? I'm going to basically expand this. So first let's click on this expression. Let's expand it, and here we have to specify what is my audio source, video hook source, video 1 source 2, and so on, and that we are going to replace with the final video data set that we have over here. That is the reason why we had to collate all these URLs over here. So first thing is the audio source, so let's go back at the bottom. So first thing is the audio source, so let's go at the bottom, and we can see that the voice over URL is over here. So I'm going to paste this. So this is the way we are dynamically setting it. Similarly, for the video hook source, I'm going to drag this URL, which is the first video URL. For the second one, for the second video, we are going to drag this. For the third one, we are going to drag this. Similarly, for the fourth one, we are going to drag this. Let's continue to change these indexes. From 3, it will be like 4, this will be 5, and this will be 6. In the text, similar way, but we have to first delete them. Let's drag the hook. So this is the first hook. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to replace it over here. So that's the final request output looks like. Let's close it. Let's rename it to generate unified video, and let me execute this step. It seems there was some sort of an error over here. I had double inverted commas. So let me try and execute this again. So alright, so now the node has been successfully executed, and why we set the permission for the voiceover, you can see over here that this is the audio source we are providing. And now what is going to happen is that this Creatomate platform is going to try and access our audio file. If we have not set the right permissions for our voiceover, the Creatomate platform is going to generate an error that it was unable to access this audio file. That's why we had to provide the right permissions for anyone, make it publicly accessible. And once this step is completed, you can always remove that permission if you want, or you can delete the file because you will no longer need it once the entire video is generated. So now we are going to wait for this task to be completed, and as it was with the Pi API platform, you can see that the task ID has been created, the status is planned, so we have to wait. We have to put a wait node over here as well. Maybe we can wait for 2 to 5 minutes over here and see if the status has passed. Then we are going to get the final URL that we wanted in order to upload to our social media platform. So we are very close, so stay tuned guys. I'm going to skip the waiting part. I'm going to add a wait node. So let's add a wait node over here. Let's call it 5 minutes. Let's rename this to wait 5 minutes for final video. We are going to go back. Let's save our progress. So the task has been finally completed. Now in a similar way, we fetch the task details for Pi API task. We are going to fetch the details of this Creatomate task as well. And for that, we have to make an HTTP request call, this time with get as method. So I'm going to use the HTTP node. Let's rename it to call it get final video. In the URL, I'm going to specify the same Creatomate endpoint, And over here, I'm going to just drag this ID of the task. Now we are going to select the authentication mechanism. So I can select generic credential type. And since Creatomate works on bearer token authentication, so basically we are going to use the bearer token type over here. So bearer auth. And I've already created the bearer auth for it. If you have to create a new one, you can click on new credential and you can just paste the bearer token over here. And how do you get the bearer token? You can go to your Creatomate platform, and when you are clicking on this use template, clicking on this API integration, you can see the authorization bearer is mentioned over here. You just need to copy this to your clipboard, paste it on a notepad. So you need to copy whatever is mentioned after this word bearer. So this is the token which starts with DB5C86. So when you copy into your notepad, it is going to show the full token which is there. You need to copy that, come back over here. When creating a new bearer auth mechanism, create new credential, paste your bearer token and rename the credentials accordingly. The way I have renamed it to Creatomate bearer auth account. So that's how you can set up the generic auth in n8n so that you can use it again and again in other workflows as well. But if you have to send it in the header, so you can just import it as curl request as we did in the previous Creatomate node where we submitted the task. You can use that method as well and send it as a header. Ultimately, this is also doing the same thing, that it is sending it as a header by attaching that authorization bearer and the token. But n8n is doing it behind the scenes. And second thing is that you don't need to copy paste that token again and again into various nodes that I was about to do over here. So I thought of creating a credentials that can be used in this workflow as well as other workflows where I'll be using the Creatomate service. So no query parameters are there. In the headers, we can say that content type equals to application/JSON. And since it's a get type of method, we don't need to specify anything in the body. Let me execute this step. And you can see that the status is succeeded for the task that we have created. And now if we look at the URL over here, this is the video URL that we need. This is where the video has been generated based on the content that we told it to render into the video template that we had created. So now we can download this URL into the n8n using an HTTP request call. So let's go back to the canvas. Let's click on this. Add an HTTP request node. Just drag this URL over here. We have to just make a get call. No authentication is required. I'm going to rename this as download final video. Now let's execute this and it is going to return a binary file that is there. So this is the binary data that we have got. We can click on this download button and it is going to download the file. So it has downloaded the file. Let me open and play it for you. So that looks like a video, 35-second video it is there. Let me play it and you can listen to it.
Did you know that ChatGPT can actually help you code? With just a prompt, you can watch it solve tricky programming problems in a matter of seconds. Not just that, it can help brainstorm creative content ideas effortlessly. It even predicts responses like a real conversation pro. I once asked it to write a bio for me, and it absolutely nailed it. Want to learn more hidden tricks of this powerful tool? Hit that subscribe button for the latest AI hacks.
Alright, so you can see the output that it has generated, and remember that we just use the developer versions of the model. What it can do with the pro versions, you can just imagine. All you did was adding a topic to the Google Sheet and rest everything was automated for you. Now it is time that we have this video available. We should first upload it to our cloud storage so that we can archive it for our own purposes. Whether you want to schedule it or not, you can decide later. Second thing, we are going to show how to publish this video that we got just generated by seeking an approval from the user and publishing it to the Instagram. Third thing is, similar way you can publish the post to YouTube Shorts as well. So let's go ahead and publish these videos on our social media platforms so that the entire workflow is fully automated. So let's go back and automate that part as well. So now I'm going to click on the canvas. Let's save our progress that we have so far. Let's go back a couple of nodes, and when we created or submitted this task, let's pin this data as well, so that we don't execute this node again accidentally. Let's deactivate this as well for time being. And again, I can open this as well and pin this data too. I cannot pin this data because it has the binary output. So we are going to leave it as is. As I told you, first thing we are going to add a Google Drive node. and we are going to upload a file. So I'm going to click on this. The account is selected, resources file operation is upload, input data field name is going to be data, which is there. For the file name, we can say that shorts video underscore, and we can specify the ID. If I go to the JSON over here, maybe we can specify this ID over here. Let's just delete this space. So this is going to be the shorts underscore video underscore the ID of the task of the creator made. You can go back to previous notes as well and use the title of the video or topic of the video that you had given. In the parent drive, I'm going to select my drive. In the parent folder, I'm going to go over and select this Capstone project over here. This is where this file will get uploaded. Let's execute the step. So it looks like our file is successfully uploaded. Let me click on this link. And over here you can see that shorts underscore video and the ID of the video. It seems that we missed to add the extension. So let's go back and add the extension .mp4. So now the file will be .mp4 format. Let's go back, first delete this file. Let's delete this and then come back over here. Now execute this step. Now let's go back again and the file is over here. Now if I double click over it, you can see over here that Google Drive is suggesting this file is being still processed for playback. So the file has been archived. So now ideally I should be notified. Also, we had to update the sheet status as well. So we are going to go back to our canvas. First, we are going to add the Google Sheet over here. So let's add it. We have to update the row in the sheet. So we are going to click on that. And we are going to go back all the way to the original sheet where we have fetched the topic manually. So we fetched the topic manually in this part, but let's first configure the rest of the parameters on this node. Let's first rename it to update video status. Let's click on rename. Let's keep the credential as is. Resource is sheet within the document. Operation is update row. Document, we are going to select AI content generation. This is the sheet that we wanted to select. So if I click on it, map each column manually, we had to select the column to match on. If I open this node again, it's the video number that we have to operate upon. So I'm going to select the video number. What video number to compare? So this is the video number that we want to compare. It is also suggesting unpin node, get final video and execute. Let me go back. Let me unpin this data over here and let's come back. And it is asking me to execute it again. Okay, so video status has been updated. What it updated, I don't know, because we did not specify anything to be updated. However, at least the data now is coming. So you can see the video number is coming. So we are going to delete all this data. And we are only interested in updating the status as well as URL. So for the status, as I go onto that sheet, you can see that the status that I'm maintaining is done, pending, pending, done. So let's go ahead and click on this done. So status is done. URL, we have to specify the URL where the final upload has happened. So this is the URL where the final upload has happened. If I have the access to this particular file, I can open it. This is my account. We don't need to set the anonymous public related permission over here because this is for our own internal use. This is not going to be used by anyone else or accessed by anyone else. So now if I execute this step and we go over here, so you can see that for video number 2, which was 3 hidden features in ChatGPT you didn't know about, the status column K has been updated as well as the video URL has been updated. Now there are 2 columns which is already in published state. Let me just put them in pending state. This is YouTube status as well as Instagram status. So now we can also publish this video on YouTube as well as Instagram. So let's go ahead and do that. Before going over there, let's notify the user or myself as well. So we can add a Telegram node over here and I'll say send message. Let's rename it to call it notify me on video store. Let's rename this. In the chat ID, I have to mention the chat ID. In the text, we can just say that a new reel or shorts video has been created, json.video URL. This is the URL we are giving it to the user so that person can click on it. If the person has access to the file, that means if they are logging into their Google Drive account, they will be able to access the URL. Let me also open the Telegram over here. Now let's just execute this step. So you can see that the message has received, a new reel short video has been created and the URL of the video is mentioned over here. So this notification part is done. Let's go back to our workflow, publish the video on social media channels as well. In order to do that, I'm going to select all of these and I'm going to drag it down. Remember, the node execution order is left to right and top to bottom. Ideally, we would like to publish the video on our social media channels and then update or store the video on our Google Drive. That's how it should be done, because then we are marking the complete status of the video in the last branch, which will be the bottommost branch. First thing, let's go ahead and publish the video on Instagram. So for that, let me just bring it up, because this is where we have downloaded the video, and rest this flow was basically archival of our final video. So this is where I'm going to add a node of Facebook. So if I search Facebook, so we are going to use the Facebook Graph API. So first thing that you have to do while posting on Instagram is that you have to post it to something called Instagram container, and after the container is published, we publish the container. So it's a two-step process of posting any kind of social media or media content specifically on Instagram. And how we are going to do it, let's go ahead and configure it. So in the credentials, I am going to select the long-term token. If you have not watched my credential videos of how to create Instagram credentials or Facebook credentials for n8n on my YouTube channel, go and watch that video, because that is very important to understand how you create long-term tokens for using Graph API for Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp or Threads. We'll leave the host URL as default. HTTP method we are going to use post over here. Then the Graph API we are going to leave default. Node is not me. This is the node ID of the page that you are going to use for posting on Instagram. So this is your Instagram ID's node ID, and how you can get it is, so if you open up the business portfolio of your account, this is how it would look like. So I have this Devil on Wheels account business portfolio where I have like couple of pages: GenAI, Unplugged, A Monk Abroad, Devil on Wheels, as well as the Instagram accounts are being shown over here where I have Devil on Wheels and GenAI Unplugged. And you can see this ID over here which is ending with 661. This is for GenAI Unplugged 14 account, and then I have this Devil on Wheels as well, which is ending with 41720 account. So this is the node ID that we have to use. So if I come back over here, I have used this ID which is 41720, and this one is 41720. So I'm going to post the video on my Devil on Wheels account and quickly delete it as well, just after showing it to you for temporary purpose. Then in the edge you have to specify media, and then we have to start adding the query parameters. So I'm going to click on this query parameters, and the first parameter that we have to add is the video URL. So I'm going to say video underscore URL, and in order to get the value of the URL, so this is the file that we had downloaded. We'll go one node back where the URL was present. Over here this URL is present, so I'm going to use this value over here. Then I'm going to add another parameter, and this will be media underscore type, and here we are going to specify reels because it's a reel type or short type video that we are posting. Then the third parameter is caption, and we can just say testing reels feature. And finally, we can rename this to post to Instagram container. So I'll rename this. Now I'm going to click on so there is some error that occurred. I think the default value is not selected. So let's select this and now execute this. Alright, so the container ID is now available. This container is ready to be published. So the general recommendation is that before posting or publishing the container, because it takes some time to upload the video from the video URL, you should wait for some time. So we are going to add wait for a few seconds. So I'm going to add a wait. We can leave it as 5 seconds. I'm going to execute this. So it is going to wait for 5 seconds and run through. So now it has executed. Now it is time to publish the container that we have. But what if you want to approve the content and then only upload? So let's add a Telegram notification over here and ask for approval. So this time we are going to use send message and wait for response. So Telegram account, message, chat ID. Again, I'm going to copy the chat ID from the other node. And in the message as well, I'm going to paste the same message. Let's open this. Paste the same message, and let's fix this part over here. Let's delete that. Let's go back one node. Let's go to the JSON over here, and let's use this URL over here. Let's drag it. So now we have the URL coming from download final video node. Let's continue building our message to say kindly your approval posting to Instagram. And now we can add the approval type. So this should be approval type. We'll add the option over here. It should be approve and disapprove both. And we are going to rename this to seek for Instagram approval. Let's execute this step. So we would have got the message. So message has come. So this is the URL. Please kindly provide your approval for posting to Instagram. If I approve it, so let's go ahead and click on this approve. So it has approved the content. So that means approved is true now. Let's come over here and add the if node. and we can drag this over here and let's call it boolean is true, and we can say if Instagram approved. Let's rename this, let's execute this, and this is Instagram approved. So we are going to go back. This is where we are going to finally publish the video on our Instagram channel. So I'm going to add a Facebook node again. So let's search over here, Facebook Graph API. Let's select our long-term credential token. Let's change this to version 22.0. Node would be same. In the edge, this time we'll say media underscore publish. So this time we are publishing the media. Last time it was media where we created the container ID. And in the query parameters, we are just going to mention the creation ID, add parameter. Let's have the creation ID over here. Let's go back a couple of nodes. So this is the ID that got generated, post to Instagram. So I'm going to just drag over here. Let's rename this to post to Instagram. So if I click on execute, it is going to post the reel on my main account. Let's go ahead and open that. Let me open the Instagram. So you can see that right now I don't have any sort of reels. I'm in the reels tab over here. Let's come back. Let's execute this step now. Alright, so the content has been posted. Let's go to our Instagram account. So right now you see there is nothing over here. If I refresh it, the video should be over here and you can see that the video has been posted. You can see the caption is there and the video is running. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and delete this. So that's how you have automated the entire reel publishing for Instagram in this workflow. Now let's quickly go ahead and do the same for YouTube as well. So in the second branch, I'm going to basically publish the content on the YouTube. So let me select all of them and make some space over here. So for the YouTube, there is a single step process. So we don't need this post to Instagram container tab, but definitely we should seek the approval. So I'm going to just copy these two nodes and I'm going to paste it over here. And I'm going to basically attach this over here. In this particular node, let's rename this to instead of Instagram, we can say YouTube approval. So this time we are seeking the YouTube approval. Kindly provide your approval for posting it to the YouTube. Rest of the parameters can remain same. Now let's execute this step. So you can see that the message has ringed. So over here you can see a new message has arrived. Same content is over here. Kindly provide the approval for posting it to the YouTube. So that means this node is also working fine. Now let's go back. So this is still running. So I have to come back over here and provide the approval. So let's go ahead and provide the approval. So we have provided the approval. Now let's come back. It has successfully executed. The content should be approved. So this is if Instagram approved. We can rename it to if YouTube approved. Let's rename this. Let's click on execute step. All right. So if YouTube approved. Now we can add the YouTube node. So if you search over here, so this is the YouTube node over here. We need a video action over here. So you can see that upload a video. So I'm going to use that. I have already created the credentials for one of my account, which is like High Tech Monk. It is a test dummy account that I had created. You have to just authenticate your YouTube account using the OAuth credentials. If you want to watch the dedicated video of how to create YouTube credentials for n8n, go and watch the playlist in the credential sections. But I'm going to use this. So let's keep this. Resource is going to be video. Operation will be upload. Title, you can go back all the way and find the title and post it over here. I'm going to skip that part and I'm going to just say new video from n8n. Next, you have to specify the region code. So I'll just select United States. Here you can select the category name. I'm going to select something random, maybe like science and technology. In the input binary field, we need the data, but the data is not coming over here for some reason. I think it is because we had these nodes over here. That's why the data is not, or binary data is not appended to these nodes. Otherwise, in general, once you fetch the binary data, it gets associated to all the nodes that executes afterward. But that has not happened in this case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this again and we are going to download the URL again. So I'm going to disconnect this. I'm going to stretch it over here. I'm going to put this here. I'm going to attach this. Let's open this. Download video again for YouTube, and here is the URL. Let's add this one. Let's go ahead and delete this. Let's execute this. So this has downloaded the binary file that we need to upload to YouTube. Now I can connect this node to YouTube. So the binary data is being inputted to this YouTube node and I can rename it to upload YouTube. Now let's add some options over here. In the default language, name or ID, I'll just keep it blank. In the description, this is test description. You can imagine that you can use the LLM to generate the description for the YouTube as well, and also generate some of the tags and specify it over here. It is up to you how you can creatively use AI in order to automate all these aspects of it. You want to create a new title as well using the script that we already have fetched in this video, you can do that as well. You just need to provide a prompt to a basic LLM chain. It is going to produce a highly converting SEO optimized title and an SEO optimized description for your YouTube as well. But that I'll leave it as a homework for you to add into this entire workflow. The next option I would like to add is privacy status. And in the privacy status, we will just select private. We don't want this video to be made publicly available. We are just testing it out. But in your live environment, you can always specify it as public, and you can also specify when you want to basically publish. So publish at is the date and time when you want to publish the video. You can select to notify your subscriber. You can add the tags as well, and you can also specify the settings for self-declared, made for kids or not. So you can see that you have some options over here that you can keep on adding. But before I click on this execute step, let's open our YouTube channel as well. You can see that I'm currently in this high tech monk account. The content, if I go, there is nothing over here. Let's go ahead and execute this step. All right, it has been uploaded. The upload ID is mentioned over here. Now let's go ahead and refresh this page over here. And you can see that new video from n8n is over here. Let me click on it. It is still uploading. And if I click on this, let's click on the play.
Did you know that ChatGPT can actually help you code?
And you can see that we have automated the entire journey of creating a faceless YouTube channel using this entire workflow. If I go back to my channel, my workspace over here, let's go back to the canvas. Couple of things that are remaining now is basically what to do with these false notes. So we have to basically update the status, which is like updating video status. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste this over here. I'm going to attach this in the false because this time user has rejected it. So let's go ahead and update that status as well. So everything over here will remain same, but in the status column, I'm going to delete it. I'm going to delete the video URL as well. I'm going to add the column called YouTube status. So over here, I'm going to say rejected by the user. And similarly, I'm going to just use this Control C, Control V, and we are going to also attach it to the approved branch as well. So let's go ahead, and in this case we are going to say uploaded. We can ignore this error for time being. Once we'll execute the entire workflow, it is going to fix on its own. Now let's go back, and similarly I'll add couple of notes for my Instagram as well. So if I execute this, so this is going to again post it on my Instagram channel. This time I'm going to go ahead and reject this request. So let's go ahead and disapprove. This time I declined it, and it is going to follow this branch. So that's how we can create this entire workflow. Let me go ahead and let me save this progress, and we can see that this is how our entire workflow looks like. And let's go ahead and fix couple of more things as well. So over here, let me delete this and add a schedule trigger because that makes more sense over here. So let's add a schedule trigger. We can configure it as running every day at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. Our workflow is going to run. So let's add it over here. Let's drag this. Let's add it over here. So this is how we have configured it. So every time this is going to run, the topic is going to be fetched. I'm going to unpin this now. Let's unpin data over here as well. Let's save. Let's come back. Let's keep on unpinning everything over here. We're going to unpin this as well. So now let's go ahead and clear everything up. I have activated everything. I have unpinned everything over here. Now this workflow is ready to go. If I click on this execute workflow link, it is going to basically execute it, fetch the video topics from our Google Sheet. It is going to generate the video captions and the scripts, and then is basically going to generate the image prompts. From the image prompts, it is going to generate images, then the video. Then we are going to use the entire script to create our voiceover using the 11 labs. The video captions, the videos, as well as the voiceover all gets merged over here. And finally, we create one final output using Creatomate template, and using that, we are going to download that particular file. We are going to first go through the approval process of posting it to the Instagram. So this branch is going to post it to the Instagram based on the feedback or approval received from the user. This branch is going to follow the same path, but it is going to upload the video on YouTube channel, and finally we are going to archive it, and all these steps are marking the status of the video in our Google Sheet tracker. And finally we are going to get a notification of what happened in the entire workflow with the automated faceless channel that we just created. So by this workflow, you are able to generate videos on the go without writing any single line of code, without editing any kind of video, without thinking about or without writing any kind of video scripts. Isn't that the great output that you have got out of this entire AI automation course, where we covered 6 different sections, and in 7th section we bring together everything including the AI power and generated this capstone project that can be implemented in your real life. In the last section of this course, which is section 8, I'm going to basically talk about some of the enterprise grade features of n8n. If you are interested, you can watch that, but don't miss the last chapter or last lesson, because in that lesson I'm going to provide the next steps that you can take on your journey of becoming an AI automation expert powered by n8n. So I'll see you in the next and the final section of this course.